Hello, my name is Jill Palmer. I've been in this class with all of you this semester, and I've really enjoyed family history. Through doing the family history, one spiritual experience I've had is to fulfill my 6 hours during some of the weeks. I've started going through my father's family history. He passed away 3.5 years ago, and as I've been going through family history with my mom, we have found so many journals, so many letters, some really incredible things. So for one of the assignments in this class, I started writing my grandparents' family history. And I couldn't find what was happening from the 70s to the early 90s when my grandpa passed away. My grandma passed away in the 80s, and there just wasn't a lot there. The family's been a little bit segregated and estranged from one another. So when I would text my aunts and uncles to ask them for information on the family, a lot of times they would tell me to ask someone else, that it wasn't something they were ready for. So as I was going through my grandmother's notes and different things, I found so many timelines she wrote that none of us had ever seen before. I found her journal, which had just been packed away for a long time, and was able to find many of her own notes and her own words. And I was able to fill in the decades of the 70s. And that was such a spiritual experience for me to know that her voice wanted to be heard, that I didn't get it from one of her children or, any negative things about her. I learned her through her own voice, and I found that to be deeply meaningful. And I have really fallen in love with her and her words and her struggles. And I've been very grateful for that. One of the aspects about family history that I really have come to love is descendancy research. Finding a great-grandparent in the 1830s or earlier, and then working back their line, finding all their children, and doing the record hints that come with it, sourcing them. And through that, I spent one day, probably 6 hours until almost 2 o'clock in the morning. I loved doing it. And through that, through sources, I was able to find children. I was able to find people who had lost many children in infancy, a lady who lost 2 sets of twins soon after their birth. And through all of that, I have come up with 39 names that we can take and do family history for, and these sealings for them. And I'm going on vacation this next week, and my uncle, who is a sealer in the Idaho Falls Temple, we are going to do a large family sealing session. And I'm so excited to know that we could find that. So I would recommend to find sources, to go into those family names and find those record hints, and then work through that and through merging and praying about it as you go. It has been such a blessing, and is my favorite thing to do on family history now, is to merge and to add record hints and to help people find their children. And I'm very, very grateful for that, and feel very thankful to be a part of that work. And I'm grateful that I can share this, and hope that you too are finding success in your family history.